No. You listen to me here. Listen to me. Whatever you did back there, didn't clear. Therefore, we're not even. You still owe me. Okay, well let me remind you of some things. Who helped you keep your seat when you were facing impeachment? Who filled the attenuators on those cars, bribed the tech inspectors, pinned the blame on Cindric, and gave you a golden opportunity to swoop in and take over IndyCar? Which you still haven't done, by the way. That's right. You still owe me. And I'm going to collect on that debt one way or another. So you better think of something. Better think of something fast. Because you got until the end of next race before I make everything go public. Clock's ticking. Wait, is that recording? Welcome back to the Fast Track. This week we enter the middle part of the season where we visit old versions of current F1 tracks, starting with the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. This track's story begins with the man-made island it sits on, as it wasn't even meant for motorsport in the first place, being used as a venue for Expo 67, which is essentially Canada's answer to the 1964 New York World's Fair. After that, though, aside from a brief stint as the venue for rowing events in the 1976 Summer Olympics, it largely remained dormant until one Roger Pert was called up to renovate the place for Formula One competition, after it was determined that both Mosport and Mont-Tremblant were no longer viable venues for the Canadian Grand Prix. Officially christened as the Ile Notre-Dame Circuit, the track would open shortly before its first race in October of 1978, which would be won by hometown favorite Gilles Villeneuve, whose name would be immortalized in the track's new and current title following his passing after an accident during the 1982 Belgian Grand Prix weekend. From there, the track retained a healthy assortment of different series visiting the track, including many spec series and even 2 different flavors of NASCAR racing. However, in recent years, all of those events fell away, and the only ones still being held there today are all F1 or F1 related. And honestly, with this track's very odd location, being an artificial island situated on a river bordering suburbia and urban sprawl with the only points of access being 3 bridges that tethered the island to proper land, I can see from a logistical standpoint why a race here would seem rather difficult to pull off. But thankfully, we don't have to worry about any of that in this week's Hotlap. The first turns come up quick, requiring heavy braking, lots of lateral weight transfer, and gentle throttle input to keep the car in check. Brake a little before the 50 board for the first chicane, flick it in, and throttle back up halfway through it. Same goes for the second chicane, but watch the understeer on exit, as it is both bumpy and on a slight incline. I use the 100 board for my braking reference into the third chicane, turning in slightly later than when you'd think you'd want to turn in. Power up gently and mind the bumps on exit. Use the 100 board again for your braking into the hairpin, trailing off gently and not being too hasty with your downshifts so the car stays under you. Aim for a late apex, and take it flat out through the last 2 chicanes, although you might want to take a brave pill for the last one, lest you end up hitting the wall of champions. Every single curb around this place is going to be your enemy this week, and that goes doubly for the bumps in the asphalt. Keeping your input smooth, maintaining a consistent line, and setting your car up to rotate under such rough conditions should be your main priorities. Aside from that, the track is really simple and straightforward, meaning that it'll take a little bit more effort than usual to get even a little bit more out of your car. And finally, here's this week's calculations. And that does it for Canada and the first half of this series. Join me next week when we head down south for the Mexican Grand Prix. Until then, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take it easy.